My name is Jerry Budd, and I'm a project manager at NASA Armstrong Flight Research Center. And I work for John Belfrati in the Business Development Office as a project manager, but I've been fortunate to spend the last handful of years actually working on my own concept that I'm going to show to you today that we believe has the potential to revolutionize how you throw things to orbit. Quite simply. I've got a short animation that I want to start off with. If you want to jump to the YouTube animation, this is available online. Everything I'm going to show you today is available. No, that wasn't. That was on the web page that we pulled up. Remember to YouTube? We had some technical difficulties earlier, so we're with the plan C. Skipped over being right to C. So I've learned for the most part of this animation to not say a lot unless you people watch. We'll have plenty of time for questions. It's called the Towed Glider Air Launch System. From a separate rocket motor on the glider, not from the launch vehicle. Go ahead and jump back to the presentation. So go down 2 charts. Yeah, to that, back up, yeah, to that one. So basically the concept is this: you have a remotely piloted glider carrying a launch vehicle mounted to the underside of the glider, towed behind a business jet, transport, cargo type class aircraft, whatever size. You took, as shown in the animation in the slide, YouTube goes to the next video. And so what you do is that you tow it to altitude, release the glider, get the tow plane out of the road, and then there's a rocket motor on the glider that you ignite, and you use it to do a pull-up maneuver to an elevated flight path angle. So now you're climbing and flying at a sharp angle relative to the horizon. You release the rocket motor, or the launch vehicle, I'm sorry, ignite the motor on it, it flies off to orbit, and the glider pulls on back over and glides home. The advantages of that, next slide please. I mean, why would you do that? Sounds complicated. Well, the big reason is that there's a 30% performance increase over any of the other air launch methodologies in play, and on the order of 70% performance increase compared to a ground launch vehicle. That's significant. Those are big numbers. Why does that work? Can't you do this with just another airplane? Like, Orbital Sciences launches the Pegasus underneath the L-1011. There isn't real estate. The problem you have when you try to air launch a rocket is you try to fit it underneath an existing aircraft. There isn't any room. There's stuff in the road. Launching off the top is problematic from a safety perspective because gravity is not your friend. It's hard to drop something from above, right? You're in the road. So the glider basically gives you the capability of carrying the larger geometry with the seat, with an inexpensive, simple structure. That's where the cost part of it comes in. The glider is a simple airframe. There's no engines, no fuel tanks, no propellant. It's a dry airplane. There's no hydraulics. Electric airplane, electric servos. Large model airplane, in essence. It's simple, easy to maintain. Costs go way down. Turns out, we've run some studies, launch operations cost is an order of magnitude less than it is for ground launch. A factor of 10 less to air launch than going from a fixed base range. That's a large savings. Safety. If you're carrying a launch vehicle underneath another airplane with an aircrew member in it, even though the launch vehicle doesn't have an astronaut on it, you don't have to human rate the launch vehicle, effectively you do because of the proximity to the aircrew of the carrier aircraft. With this, you're towing the glider 1,000 feet behind the tow plane. So you have a large safety buffer for any blast proximity, any problems like that. That allows you to lower the cost of the launch vehicle. The safety reviews are easier, things are easier to manage. Technology-wise, there's no new technologies on this. There's nothing that hasn't been invented yet. There isn't any of that. Back in 97, 98, NASA Armstrong actually did an experiment for a company where we towed an F-106 behind a C-141 transport to explore the idea of how hard was it to tow a significantly large other vehicle. Towing's been done since the 30s. It was done a lot in World War II and subsequent wars. It's still being done by the military. You just don't hear a lot about it. So it's a fairly straightforward technology. It's just integrating things together. Next slide, please. We had 3 separate studies done in 2012. I call it the triple blind drug test. We had 3 different companies, entities do these studies. We didn't tell them about the other 2, so they couldn't collaborate and share. It was basically Georgia Tech University did a study on us on the feasibility and viability. Burt Rutan of aviation fame did a study for us that ran a little over 100 days. And then Ray Morgan, who was the guy at AeroVironment behind the 100,000-foot Helios solar-powered airplane, did a study for us. All 3 of them thought this was a crazy idea. Burt was the only one who told us up front. About 2 days into it, all of them kind of went, this is kind of interesting. The results of all 3 studies were the same. The concept is solid, it's viable, it bears further investigation. The technology is scalable. You can basically scale the glider to match the size of the weight of the launch vehicle that you want to carry and then match it up to the tow plane to tow the mass to the air. And it doesn't take that much of a tow plane. The example on the lower left side is a 100-foot span glider carrying a 20,000-pound launch vehicle, puts about 300 pounds to orbit polar circular. You can tow it behind a G3 Gulfstream product. The middle size is a 185-foot span. That was the size that was done in the study that Rutan and the other studies did. We gave them basically a task to carry 80,000 pounds, 75,000 pounds to altitude. And so they picked that size around a Minotaur 1 just as a test case to do the study. And that would be towed by a 757. We'd easily tow that to altitude. So, next slide. We're almost done. NASA has done some risk reduction testing with a quarter-scale model glider. We've flown a 27-foot glider from ground cockpit with a test pilot, flying with a remote video link. Basically, it validated that you could control the airplane with some of the latencies, and there wasn't really an ops issue with that. We've got some further testing planned. Next slide. There's several business case differentiators. I'm not going to go through those now, but I wanted to put that out there. We can discuss that if anybody's interested in follow-on discussion. And I think that's it. Questions?
Yeah. Oh, I just give me 1 second. Yeah, a round of applause for this